Professor X. We're talking about a lot of X-Men stuff today. We're talking about Joe Hendry. We're talking about all kinds of stuff. But first, you got to hit the music. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. We hope it is good. Welcome to another edition of Geeks Who Like Sports. As always, I'm Ray Carcillo in beautiful Los Angeles, California. Join my best friend in the entire world over in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Lee Elias. Lee, how you doing today?
Ray, I believe breakfast is a meal that you could eat at every single meal. You could have it breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
That's
but
true.
Breakfast foods are appropriate all the time.
Yes.
Never typically wake up thinking I want a T-bone steak for breakfast.
No.
You don't usually wake up thinking, man, I could use an Italian hoagie right now, or sub for those of you outside Philadelphia.
No, not usually.
But you can always say, hey, I would love an omelet right now. I'd love some bacon right now. I'd also love some Cinnamon Toast Crunch right now, our official non-sponsor today, General Mills or Cinnamon Toast Crunch. It's my morning cereal. It's my post-hockey cereal. If I got a snack, nibbly bits. If I need a little munchie. If I've got peckish behaviors in the afternoon, Cinnamon Toast Crunch is my go-to. So Cinnamon Toast Crunch is today's non-sponsor. It's a dessert cereal. Most cereals are not good for you. This one's not the worst, all right? 230 calories with milk. Pretty good snack. Lots of cinnamon, lots of taste. Cinnamon Toast Crunch, your official non-sponsor on Geeks Who Like Sports.
Cinnamon is actually
the episode's done.
Cinnamon is actually very good for you, actually.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch coming through again with Ray's expert analysis. Ray, this has got 20% of your vitamin B6 for the day. Amongst other things, I'm just
the reason why people think cinnamon is bad is because usually it's also on sugary stuff, and so then they think and that's what it is. Is the cinnamon plus sugar is not necessarily good.
I will say this: the cereal has 24% of your daily sugar that you need. But here's the thing: sounds high, but depends on how many meals you're eating a day.
That's also true.
That's appropriate to me.
Exactly.
This is easily my favorite cereal by a mile.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch. It's top three for sure.
Easily.
I think so. Yeah.
What's your number one? You said top three. That's my number one.
For me, I always go Reese. I used to go Reese's Pieces over the Reese's Pieces Puffs.
Something about that for breakfast freaks me out. But yes,
I mean that's even more sugar than Cinnamon Toast Crunch. But what I've been doing, I do now to try to not die young, is I have Honey Bunches of Oats. That's
Honey Bunches of Oats. So that's a top three for you?
No, it's not top three. I'm just saying that's what I'm eating now.
I can tell you right now, top two for me are Honey Nuts.
Yeah,
Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and then there's like a 10-way tie between like Frosted Mini Wheats, Kix. Well, really loved Kix for a long time.
I loved Rice
tested,
Krispies.
mother approved. So
Rice, for sure. Kix is a good one. I was a big Rice Krispies guy growing up.
Rice Krispies is great. Yeah.
My top three growing up were probably actually Rice Krispies, Count Chocula, which
that's up there.
And then probably Reese's Pieces. But Cinnamon Toast Crunch has really come on strong in my old age. So.
Yeah. Well, and this is a perfect Geeks Who Like Sports debate is breakfast cereal. So obviously let us know if you're listening. What's your go-to? If you're in England, Weetabix, those little two bars that come out of the package. Very interesting. For those of you who don't know, in England, they have it's like granola bar. It falls out of the box. Yeah. And then they break it up and that becomes the cereal. Which I've never seen. It works. It makes a lot of sense when you think about it. But we don't do that here. Weetabix.
No,
official non-sponsor of England, Geeks Who Like Sports.
You know who else is our non-sponsor today?
Who?
Golden Apple Comics. Here in Los Angeles.
Comics is a good one because, Ray, I believe you are going to be making a guest appearance at Golden Apple Comics.
Yes, that leads us right into this Saturday, for those who don't know, is Free Comic Book Day and Star Wars Day. It's everywhere.
It's May the 4th be with you, for those of you who don't know. I don't know how you're listening to the show. And then, of course, the Return of the 5th. The next day.
It's just Sunday, yes.
But our very own Ray Carcillo is going to be there this May the 4th. He's going to be bringing the Force hard at the comic book store, Golden Apple Comics, in California, Los Angeles.
Yes, iconic comic book shop here in Los Angeles. They're doing a series of podcasts. We're going to do a shortened, truncated, one-man Geeks Who Like Sports, where it'll be me on stage for 30 minutes.
Geek Who Like Sports.
The Geek, Geek Who Like Sports. But it should be a good time. Come out. Also, they're going to have free hot dogs.
You didn't tell me that. That would have been a game changer. What are you going to do when you do the intro? You're like, "Hey, beautiful Los Angeles, California, and joining me is no one."
No, I'm going to be joining me is this delicious Pink's hot dog.
There you go.
Because for those who don't know, Pink's, of course, another iconic LA staple, one of the great hot dog stands out here. They've expanded a bit over the years. I think there's one in Vegas now, but obviously iconic here in LA. They are sponsoring They are the sponsor within the sponsor of the free comic book day at Golden Apple Comics. They are giving everyone who shows up a free hot dog. So not only will you get to come and talk geeky stuff with me, you'll get free comic books. They have free Star Wars posters they're giving out. They've got free hot dogs.
Those, right? You gonna get me one of those?
I can try.
You're gonna get.
I should be able to.
You're going to get me one.
Okay, I will get you a free Star Wars poster. Yes.
Believe in yourself.
Yes. Okay. I'll be like, please put one to the side, please.
Believe in yourself. I believe in you, Ray. You should too.
Yeah, but it should be a great time. I'm really excited to see how it goes. I haven't been to Golden Apple in a while just because I don't usually buy comics too much anymore, at least kind.
We should tell our listeners, you and I have gone to many free comic book days together in New Jersey. We used to do that every week. We'll just say a few years ago. And it's a good day for comics, free comic book day. I mean, comics seen a little bit of a resurgence in my mind lately. I've been seeing a lot more about them, mainly because of X-Men. We will talk about that later on today's episode.
Huge show for you today, folks. We got a lot. Geek stuff is going to be dominated by X-Men again. We've got a little bit of wrestling news. We've got the NFL draft to talk about, which was this week. I gave all 32 teams a letter grade. I have it all written down here. We're not going to go every single team, but we'll talk about the big ones for sure. But of course, we're kicking things off, Lee, with the NHL playoffs.
Playoffs. Let's talk about the nihil playoffs.
Yes. We'll get to the NBA in a bit, but first we're kicking things off with hockey.
I've got some talking with you over the NBA, but we'll do
yes, we have lots to talk about there, but we're going to save that. That's a tease. Stick around, folks. But we're going to start things off with. We have one team that has officially advanced to
more than one, two.
Oh well, one. Well, two. That's true. That's correct. Two have now advanced after yesterday.
The Rangers and the Panthers have moved on.
That's correct. The Rangers and the Panthers have advanced, but the Rangers were the only one to do it via a sweep. The only first round sweep in the playoffs this year for either league. Excuse me. And I mean, look, Washington was lucky to even be there. I'm not talking down about the Caps, but let's be honest. They had a minus 37 goal differential. Ovechkin did not even look like he wanted to be there.
Ovechkin was there?
Yeah, exactly. He had 5 shots on net for the entire 4-game series.
Brutal.
He looked like he was already thinking about where he was going to go golfing, like honestly.
Yeah.
And so did several other guys. The Rangers, they were more physical. Right, which isn't typically part of their game, and it wasn't just Matt Rempe, folks. Artemi Panarin was throwing the body, Lafreniere, everybody. Like the Rangers looked like they were like, "You are a speed bump in our way. You are our first victim. Move aside, and we move on." I have not seen. I've been watching Rangers hockey my whole life. I have not seen them dispatch a team that thoroughly and that clinically in 15 years. Honestly. Lee, what are your thoughts?
Well, look, if there was any first-round matchup that a sweep was predictable, it was this one. I actually picked the Rangers in 5 only because, sweeps are hard.
You assume that Washington would have won one of the games in one.
Show up, maybe win game 1 or something like that.
Right, like the Islanders did against Carolina.
But that's the only series I predicted in 5 games, to be honest with you, right?
Yeah.
But look, I'm going to be a broken record here. The Rangers look to me to be the best team in the playoffs. It's not just because they were playing the Caps. I've been saying this for months, that team looks ready to win the Stanley Cup. Yeah. Okay. And they are doing everything right. They did not look over that opponent. They said they just like you said, right? You're in the way.
Yep.
Right. They are a very dangerous team. The only thing that's going to beat the Rangers is the Rangers.
Yeah.
Is if they stop playing this way, or if Shesterkin goes on a cold streak for no reason. That's how a team like that loses. Now, it will only get harder from here.
Sure.
Which is how it's supposed to be. But they earned that top spot. They earned that opponents, right? The Capitals were not a great playoff team, period. There were other teams that didn't make the playoffs that would have been better playoff teams than them.
Oh, sure. Your Flyers, the Red Wings, they would have been more interesting. Yeah, for sure.
So, even the St. Louis Blues at this point. But even though they're in the Western Conference.
Right.
The New York Rangers look great. Equally, let's talk about Matt Rempe for a minute. Controversial hit. I've been asked a lot about that. Look, the guy's 6'7". When he hits someone, his elbow is going to be in the guy's face. Yeah. What I look for in hits like that, and for those of you who don't know, he railed Van Riemsdyk into the boards. I mean, it was a humongous hit. The guy was horizontal.
Yeah.
What I look for from a penalty standpoint is, does he intentionally lead with an elbow or jump and I don't think he does. I think he he hits him and his elbow is at the guy's head because he's so tall. I think he's got to be aware of that. I think a lot of players get injured around him. I think he's a rookie. Yep. But playoff hockey, man. I mean, I don't know what to say. I don't want anybody to get injured. I'm not rooting against the Capitals or Van Riemsdyk or anything like that. Yeah. I just think that Matt Rempe's a gigantic guy, and if he's behind you, you might want to look twice.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is that also part of the unfortunateness of that injury is that Van Riemsdyk didn't see him coming.
Yeah,
he just seemed to be distracted, or he didn't think that again. And this is a credit to especially the Ranger fourth line. They are going to go hard on the forecheck. They are not going to let up. And honestly, like him, Goodrow, and VC, you've got 3 scrappers basically on that line. And yes, it just happens to be that Rempe happens to be 220 or 240 or whatever, and he's 6'8". So he's going to steamroll you if you're not paying attention.
That's what happens. But like, look, this is the playoffs. You got to figure it out. You got to play through. Rangers look healthy. They look determined, and they look really good. And as predicted, Ray, the other Eastern Conference matchups outside the Panthers and Lightning have become very physical and very tough. Yeah. Thus playing into your hands. Now the Panthers swept the Panthers beat the Lightning in 5 games. Again, a lot of people thought the Lightning were going to come out of that for some reason, and Panthers are too strong. The Lightning are not what they were a few years ago.
Yeah, their window is pretty much officially closed.
Yeah, they're a good team, but they're not a great team anymore in terms of.
And then too, and also banged up. They also came into this playoffs very banged up. So
Nikita Kucherov does not look like himself. Steven Stamkos is 35 years old. I mean, there's just a lot going on there. I think they can be good again soon. But they have to understandably move some pieces around. Steven Stamkos, this is the end of his contract year. We'll see if he stays there. I'd say it's highly likely he will stay there unless he's offered something undeniable, a chance to win the cup someplace else maybe.
Right.
But that team is just not that far off. But excuse me. Yeah. Like every other series, as we're recording this on April 30th, every game tonight is an elimination game, obviously. Yes. And all the series are at 3-1. Yeah. So tonight, the Leafs, Bruins, Islanders, Hurricanes, Avs, Jets, Predators, Canucks, all 3-1 series. And then it's going to be very interesting to see what directions those go. But right now in the Eastern Conference, Rangers look very, very strong. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the next half of this.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Like you said, the Leafs actually going to make a goalie change tonight to try to stave off elimination against the Bruins. I don't think that's going to matter. I think the Bruins are just the Leafs are the Leafs. This is what they do every year.
The Leafs are just so top heavy. It's the same story every year that it's just not hard to defend them. I mean, like an NHL person's going to say, "Oh, they're very hard to defend because of the." If you can shut down their top line, that's it.
Yeah.
The other thing too is that there's a lot of rumors here that this doesn't work this year. They're going to blow that team up, and they should.
They should.
I'll tell you right now that one of the unfortunate things for them is they keep losing in the first round because they keep landing against amazing teams in the first round.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe build that team for a little bit of a different situation. You play in Boston again. I mean, So I don't expect them to win that series. I don't expect them to go quietly. We'll see what happens, but. The playoffs have been really fun so far to start, but the better teams are starting to emerge here as the better teams. The only series that is not going that way, but is starting to tip that way, is the Vegas-Dallas series. Dallas tied that series up last night.
Yeah, 2-2.
And again, Dallas is a better team than Vegas. I think Vegas is running on high from Mark Stone coming back and some other additions to that team.
And they had the experience from last year for sure.
Right.
But like you said, Dallas is a more talented team.
Yeah.
And then tying that series at 2 is
people forget Dallas was in the final just a few years ago, right? Against Tampa, right? In that one of the COVID years. So, this is not a team that's without experience.
Yeah.
But the Vegas is hot off that and a lot of other things. But that's the only series that is not tipped towards a favorite. Right? Every other series, the favorite is up 3-1.
Exactly.
Which I don't recall that happening too often, Ray. Usually these series go a little bit different. Now, with that said, it still can happen the other way. Like teams can come back pretty quickly on things like this.
Sure.
But the only series right now that's tied is Golden Knight Stars. Even the Oilers are up 3-1 on the Kings right now.
Now I wanted to bring that up because Game 4 of that series was
bonkers.
It was insane. You had. Edmonton, of all teams, had only 13 shots on net. They only scored 1 goal. And Skinner pitches a 33-save shutout on the other end, and they win 1-0.
Yeah. Let me tell you something about Edmonton. And we talked about this months ago. People, they're done. They're out of the playoffs. They had a horrible start. Remember that episode?
Get me started on how awful TNT's coverage
We had a whole section of an episode about that. I remember saying with you, Ray, that's the dumbest thing you can do is count that team out. They have too much firepower. It's way too early in the season. Yeah. And we said, well, all they've done is made it hard for themselves. And Connor McDavid came out the other day and said, we made it really hard on ourselves. They almost verbatim. And he goes, but that's why we're so strong right now. Like we accomplished something that was Herculean, and they did, getting into the playoffs. But like we said, you don't count that team out. No. And here they are now destroying the LA Kings. Yeah. Right.
In a variety of different ways.
They could be a dark horse in my mind of in this playoffs. Right.
They will go as far as Skinner and Net will take them. But if he continues, he reminded me of when Nikolai Khabibulin carried the Lightning to their first cup 20 years ago.
In 04. Yeah.
Where he had 5 playoff shutouts, including 3 in the first round. And here's Skinner again, kind of like Khabibulin was always a good goalie, but like nobody really that put him on the map. Skinner, not as good as Khabibulin. I'm not saying that, but you do a shutout like that to give your team a 3-1 lead in the first round, and you hold on to a 1-0 win on a night where your team, top to bottom, was outplayed. The Kings played better in Game 4 than Edmonton, and you steal a 1-0 win in LA. That Edmonton, do not fall asleep on the Edmonton.
Listen, a hot goaltender can take you very, very far.
Yep, 100%.
Sometimes all the way. But yeah, the NHL playoffs, fun. Again, I don't usually say this, but I'm happy that the favorites are winning because I think it's going to provide us a much better second and third round.
Yes.
I think the bottom half of the playoffs this year, opposed to other years, little weaker this year in terms of the teams that are there. Yeah. I'm not trying to shut out anybody's season, but I'm not going to lie to you. Like the Caps did not impress me. The Islanders don't impress me. So I want to see the best teams in this playoff. I don't necessarily need a Cinderella story this year.
No.
Right. I want to see the New York Rangers be the New York Rangers and win this thing. And I'm a Flyers fan saying that.
Yeah.
Okay. That's how much I respect that hockey team. Yeah.
We appreciate it. But yeah, I mean, you look at this, I think you're going to see a lot of these, again, aside from Vegas and Dallas, which is guaranteed to go at least 6 now. A lot of these are going to be short series. I agree. I think Boston wraps it up tonight. I think Carolina is going to wrap it up. I think Vancouver is going to wrap it up. Although I thought Nashville had a chance early, but they blew 2 leads in Vancouver.
They blew 2 leads. I mean, Vancouver pulled their goal. They got 2 empty net goals and then 1 in overtime. That's a sign you're not going past this round.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like I honestly thought Nashville was going to be the better team. I legit believe that. But now, Vancouver looks like a team that like you can't underestimate them now after those kind of comebacks.
I don't want to count out Nashville completely, but when you get beat like that takes the wind out of your sails. And
it's backbreaking.
I know that next game's an elimination game, but it's like if you don't win that game, even if it wasn't an elimination game, there's no coming back from that, right? Yeah. It's brutal. So
yeah, and anyway, it looks like Colorado's gonna win in 5.
They just had to get themselves together.
I thought that might have been a longer series just because of Hellebuck, but I mean after Winnipeg won game 1 7-6, like that's the thing. If it wasn't for if Georgiev had even a decent game in game 1, that would have been a sweep too. Colorado, it's been all Colorado.
Yeah, look, I can tell you as a coach sometimes, like one of the things I like to say is, you score 6-7 goals, you should win the game.
Absolutely.
So it's just on one of the goaltenders has to step up, and they have. But Colorado is the tested team here. Winnipeg's a great team. Colorado to me seems a little more dangerous, and they're healthy and they understand how to win. And I just think that's what's going to happen there.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I picked them and the Rangers in the final. I'll keep saying it. Although I've been impressed with some of these West Coast teams.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Again, Edmonton is interesting, and Dallas. I think Dallas over Vegas. I think Dallas might be interesting if whoever comes out of that series, I think could be interesting because Vegas has the experience.
I'll make the bold prediction that whoever wins Game 5 is going to win the series. I agree. It's not bold because that typically happens, but it is possible to lose that game and still win, but it's rare.
Yeah, no, for sure. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Rangers did it.
That's true. It's happened before, but but you're right. It's about 70% of the time the winner of Game 5 in a 2-2 series is the one that advances.
70% of the time it works every time.
Yes, right. That's right. Oh goodness. So we've got a couple of teams advanced in hockey yesterday. A couple of teams have advanced in the NBA as well.
Yes,
in fact, we have
quickly go through the NBA because I have a bone to pick with you. Go ahead.
Okay. Our second round matchup has actually been solidified. The Timberwolves beat the Suns. The Suns, they had their big three and nobody showed up. The Wolves swept that series. People are talking about Kevin Durant's legacy being tarnished. I don't think so. Right. I think it's just he's old now, guys, and this happens sometimes.
They love controversies like that. Basketball loves that crap, and I don't understand why. He's not the GOAT. He's not the GOAT anymore. Like, what are you talking about? Like, we get great players. What are you talking about?
Yeah, look, the Wolves are a young, good team. They're on the up and up. There's a reason why they're the 3 seed, and the Suns were the 6. Like, it just is what it is. Now, did I expect a sweep in that series? No. But am I surprised the Wolves are moving on? Also, no. Also, no surprise the Denver Nuggets handled the Lakers. Everybody here in LA, all you delusional nutballs that I'm going to get to talk to on Saturday, they're like, it's the Lakers. The Lakers are going to come out of the play-in tournament and be the team. I'm like, you're nuts. You're nuts, and they lost in 5. Joker does not care about LeBron. Joker does not care about AD and his injury. Joker says, I am here to defend my championship.
Another thing, too, is LeBron's, 38?
Yes.
I mean, he's playing to play with his son at this point.
That's
That's
why
he's there. I think he even said if wherever he's drafted is where I'm going.
Basically, he's got an option left. Obviously, his son's going to play a year in college. He's got 1 year left in LA. Should he accept the option, which I think he will, because it's a $50 million option. And then when that expires, he will go wherever his son is drafted. He'll play 1 more year and then he will retire. That is the plan for LeBron. Look, did he not?
Maybe a few more than 1, but he might do 3 or 4. But yes.
Right. Does he want to keep winning? Of course. He was very animated last night, again, crying about the refs. He actually got in a fan's face, which was hysterical, although it's not a good look for LeBron. But
he doesn't care anymore. He doesn't need to care anymore. Look, he's one of the greatest of all time. He's easily top 3 at this point. Yes. He doesn't care anymore. He do whatever he wants. He doesn't care what you think, everybody. Yeah. He doesn't, nor does Kevin Durant for that matter.
Yes. But again, to the point that if you thought the Lakers were going to knock off the defending champion Nuggets in the first round, you are delusional. I'm sorry. The Nuggets handled them in 5 to nobody's surprise.
It's a taste of your own medicine. I mean, I got to be honest with you. The league is so top heavy. We all know that.
Yes.
Right. And the Thunder, no surprise. Right. Just
the Thunder sweep the Pelicans. Zion, even if he was 100%.
Yeah.
The Thunder are another one of these young, good teams in the West, much like the Wolves. And they handled their business because all the Pelicans have really is Zion, and that's it. Like, there you go. So the interesting matchup, much like both sides, the 4-5, which we said could be interesting. Clippers and Mavs are 2-2. Cavs and Magic are 2-2. And I really just think it's going to be, I think it's going to be Cavs and Clippers just because they're going to go 7, and it's because of home court, and that's it. And that's the reason. And then they'll lose in the second round. So
wait, Cavs and Clippers.
I think the Clippers.
You think the Clippers are going to beat the Mavs? I got it.
And the Cavs will beat the Magic, and I think they'll both go. What
are you talking about?
I know they say Clippers and Mavs. Clippers and Mavs, and then Cavs and Magic.
That's just the Eastern Western breakdown there.
Yeah, the 4-5. So the 4-5. The Celtics are about to beat the Heat. They're up 3-1. The one thing that now is a concern for the Celtics is Kristaps Porzingis got hurt in last night's game. They should finish off the Heat, but how far will losing your number 1 center is a big deal at this time of the year. It's going to be interesting to see if this affects the Celtics going forward. But I think the Celtics at least finish off the Heat. The Bucks. This is the surprising upset, but again, this is injuries, right? The Bucks are very, very banged up. The Pacers are taking advantage of that. They have a good 3-1 lead. They have a good young team. I don't think the Pacers, though, get past the second round where they will face my Knicks. I'm saying it right now. There's no way that the Knicks are going to knock on wood. Knock on every piece of wood in the house.
I'd be very careful at tempting fate here because these games are close. I'm not saying you're wrong. Yeah. But the Sixers could easily be tied that series right now. So you got to be
absolutely. Yeah, it could even
go
be
ahead.
3-1.
No, do your thing because I got something to talk to you about.
It could even be 3-1 in favor of the Sixers. I'm not denying that. Yeah. But look, Jalen Brunson in Game 4 dropped a Knick playoff franchise record 47.
He was awesome. You've earned every win that you have. I'm not gonna debate any of the basketball.
The difference has been offensive rebounding. Really, absolutely. If you look at the Knicks,
what in Game 3?
The Knicks when they rebound, and they typically they get tough in the paint. They get the offensive boards.
They really do.
That has been a big difference the whole year for them, and it's why they are playing so good. It is a Tom Thibodeau mentality of what a concept. Defense wins games. What a concept.
I know, right? I say it all the time.
So, but yeah, I really hope that we finish off tonight, Lee, and that we don't have to see any more of Crybaby Embiid anymore.
Okay.
So.
Now's where you start to lose me. Maybe you don't know this, Ray, but Joel Embiid is fighting a mild case of Bell's palsy, and he is still playing, which is insane. That is why his right eye was closed the other night. The guy's playing through some stuff. You are earning every win that you have. I'm not debating the Knicks over the Sixers right now. Sixers have made some pretty bad mistakes late in games and allowed the Knicks to stick around because the Knicks are a playoff team. But, Ray, that's not the big story on Action News tonight.
Is it that Joel Embiid tried to take out one of our guys by taking out his ankles and then kicked another guy in the balls because he's a cheap piece
I don't
of
want to hear you whine about playoff basketball. That's playoff basketball. I want to talk about your fan base for a minute.
Kicking a guy in the groin is playoff basketball?
I want to talk about your fan base for a minute. Because
what, that we went down to Philly and made it feel like the Garden on game 4?
You're already getting offensive or defensive, and I haven't said anything yet.
I'm not being defensive. I'm
for years,
offense, baby. We're on the offense right now.
Oh, man, you're going to crash so hard if you're not careful. For years, I've been hearing about how abrasive my fan base is and horrible my fan base is and how we say horrible things and do horrible things, which we do. I'm not denying that. But the holier-than-thou attitude of everyone against Philadelphia, and I think this started last year in the playoffs with the Phillies fans being amazing, to be honest with you. And you saw the Diamondbacks fans start to get like really egregious, like, hey, we can give it back. But I just watched Knicks fans in Philly saying full out F Philly in our stadium, screaming horrible things to our fans, putting a Knicks jersey on Wilt Chamberlain's statue, which is insanely disrespectful.
That was a bit much. I agree.
Doing the same shit that we take crap for all the time, thus proving you guys are just no better than us. New York, Boston, and Philadelphia are all the same asshole. I've been saying it for years, and I'm tired of us taking the brunt of it. You guys were pathetic fans at that last game. Pathetic.
I wouldn't say that.
Disrespectful and pathetic. Telling a city to go F itself in its own building. I think it's pathetic when Philadelphia fans do
That's
this.
only because, you know what, you brought it on yourselves because
your trash fans did the same crap that you always
You brought it on yourselves because Embiid's a big crybaby.
Embiid is not a fan of the team. He's a player on the team.
Yeah.
My point is this. The New York Knicks fans have been horrendous fans in terms of respect or more of a disrespect standpoint. You don't put a Knick jersey on
I
Wilt
will agree
Chamberlain.
with that. I will
That's
agree
ridiculous.
that was a line crossed.
That was ridiculous. And then standing in the middle of the stadium saying F you, the rest, Philly. Can't do that on the air. I mean, it's just ridiculous. In fact, I know we've done that before.
I was going to say, telling us the city to go F themselves. That's just par for the course for a lot of sports franchises.
No, it's a Northeast thing. You don't see that in Dallas. You don't see that in.
They don't care in Dallas.
Yeah. My point to you is this: I am tired of Philadelphia taking the brunt of this a-hole fandom storyline.
I will agree with you. We are. Yeah. I agree with your assessment. Yes,
love
we
the
are
passion.
All the same.
Love the passion.
All the same.
But I don't want to hear how horrible we are anymore. That was beyond disrespectful.
I agree. The Wilt thing was a line was crossed, but the chanting of F Philly, I think, is just par for the course for the Northeast. I think that's just is what it is. So
I just want to. I'm just putting it out there. Knicks fans, you are not innocent. You are not different.
No, and I'll say this though, you don't want Knicks fans to do that in Philly. Then maybe some people in Philly should buy some playoff tickets and represent.
I don't disagree with that either. We're not showing up, but it doesn't excuse the fact. You can make all the excuses you want, man, about why that happened. They were incredibly disrespectful fans. I can say that just like you. People have been telling me that for years. Sure. Own it. You guys were assholes the other night.
Absolutely.
You're just as bad as we are. And it feels good when you're winning. But let me tell you something, man.
Yes.
Philly remembers this shit. All right.
And here's the thing, though. You have to remember, though, this is also 50 years of frustration coming out.
Yeah.
And it's also, I mean, look, it's this. A lot of teams weren't giving anybody the Knicks the respect when the playoffs started.
Sure.
It's a lot of also, no offense, but it feels like the Philly championship window chance is probably closing
No, I
for the
think it's been close.
76ers.
I think it's been
Yeah,
close for a while.
so
But what I'm saying is this, man, is that like, and this is I've always thought this is a difference between Philadelphia and New York, is that
we win
I can see,
championships.
buddy. No, you don't have that on us right now either. All right, the Sixers have won more recently than you have. Relax.
In basketball, yes.
Yeah, so
in
shut up.
basketball.
All right. That's saying something. We're going back to 83.
83, yes.
So listen to me. This is what I'm trying to say. I can see Sixers fans in Philadelphia saying, F New York. And I can see Sixers fans doing amazingly egregious things. But Sixers fans tend to focus on the Sixers, and Philadelphia fans tend to focus on Philadelphia teams when things go good or bad. At the end of the game, they're happy their team has won. I have always been unimpressed with New York's ability to focus on the opposition when their team wins. And we've said this before. When the Giants won the Super Bowl, the newspaper was about the New England Patriots losing, which I thought was I understand the Herculean.
The one giant loss was a big deal. Like
that's one giant loss was a great tagline.
Yeah.
But 18-1, that was not the headline. Right. The headline was the Giants
in some
the
papers,
Super Bowl.
In some of the rags in New York.
Right. It should have said one giant loss, Giants win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Or you come down, you beat us, you go up 3-1, and it's all about Philly to the New York fans. Yeah. And I've never understood that about
not
New York.
To every New York fan, but I understand, yes, what you're saying. Look, because again, we can't also, and we've also talked about this, we can't obviously loop in every fan with in one group. Obviously,
of course we can. That's what generalization is. No, look, you're right, but it's like if you guys face off against the Bruins in the playoffs with the Rangers, I'm going to hear about Boston, and it's like we beat Boston. Own that you're the best team. Like, so dumb. You know what I mean?
I want the cup. I don't care who we beat along the way.
You know who you sound like when you do stuff like I'm talking about? New Jersey. All right, and New York, you don't need to do that.
Yeah.
All right. New Jersey's identity is that Napoleonic complex, and they own it. They own that. That is. It's. I say all the time.
I mean, look, I've said, even
I've in the shadow of Manhattan.
Well, I mean, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. New Jersey's not a state. Northeast New Jersey is just the sixth borough of New York, and I know, but I'm explaining that New Jersey's not really we're not really a state, because when it comes to sports, at least, South Jersey is really just East Philadelphia, and Northeast Jersey is just the sixth borough of New York, and then you have Sussex County, which is just the hill people, the hill people.
I'm gonna end this segment on this. I've been waiting years to do this. All right, New York Knicks fans, you were classless, disrespectful jerk-offs the other night. Okay. Just like us.
I guarantee you, though, when we hopefully close out the series tonight at the Garden, you are not going to hear anything about Philly. You're just going to hear.
Oh, I guarantee you, we're going to hear all about how you beat Embiid and how you beat Philly.
I don't care.
You're going to see the same crap at the stadium.
All I know, you know what I'm looking at? I'm looking at, and I'm not looking past the Sixers. Hopefully we close it out tonight. I'm looking at, I think we can beat Indiana in the next round. And if Boston doesn't have Porzingis,
yeah,
I was saying the Knicks would lose to the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Final. If they don't have Porzingis, that could be one heck of a series.
Cookie could crumble. I'm with you.
That's what I'm looking at. But got to finish. You got to finish this off tonight. I do not want this going back to Philly, because I think if it goes back to Philly, it'll then come back to New York for a Game 7. So we need to finish these off tonight. And
I do agree with that. And if you let this get to Game 7, it's going to be bad.
You never know what's going to could happen in a Game 7.
Right.
So, I mean, we'll see what happens. But we are also in the middle of, somebody will go home. It will be their off season possibly tonight. Speaking of off seasons, we are, of course, in the NFL off season, just had the draft.
That's the transitional music.
Now, Lee, I have written down a grade for every team on the draft.
Yeah, on the draft. I hope you publish this later.
I probably could, but
media people do. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know. The thing is, that to be a lot of writing, because I feel like I would then have to defend every letter grade in depthly.
Buddy, Ray, you're a writer, bro.
It's true.
This is welcome to Affirmations with Lee.
Yeah,
Ray, you are a writer.
I'm going to say, so I want to know, Lee, before I am a writer technically. So I guess anyway, but there's a lot a lot that happened in the draft, a lot of interesting things that came out of it. Lee, I'm going to give you my top 3 and my bottom 3.
And then sure. And then our teams if they're not in those. Right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say first off, starting off with the top 3.
Yes.
The Chiefs.
Easily, yeah.
Right? They traded up back into the first round. They got a receiver they needed in Worthy. They filled the holes that they needed, the couple of holes they needed as a championship team.
Brilliant.
Kelsey just signed a 2-year contract, but also possibly drafted his heir apparent after that at tight end. The Chiefs had a great draft. The Cardinals are my number 2 team. They had 12 picks. We always talk about how only 50% of your picks land.
Yeah.
If 50% of their picks land, that's 6 new guys that are going to help them out.
They're in business.
To me, they got the best player available in the draft at the 4 pick with Marvin Harrison Jr. Right? Mm-hmm. This is now after this is do or die for Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray has no more excuses because the Cardinals drafted really, really well, including stealing to me, they got a steal in the 5th round. You want to talk about steals there? This is my number 1 steal, folks. This guy, I want to make sure I get his name right. Hold on, I got it written down. What's his name? Out of Texas. His name, first name's Christian. I can't believe I'm blanking on his last name now.
I will bridge the gap here while Ray is doing this. Ray is wearing
Christian Jones. Christian Jones. That's why I forgot it was such a generic name. But Christian Jones out of Texas, offensive tackle. I was hoping the Giants were going to get him. This kid could have gone in the 2nd or 3rd round. The Cardinals get him at the back end of the 5th. He is one of my steals of the draft because he is just a monster. And again, Kyler Murray now has somebody covering his blind side. They just did a great job top to bottom, the Cardinals, in my opinion, with 12 picks. The reason why one of the reasons why people forget the Giants won Super Bowl 42 was that Jerry Reese that year all 7 draft picks that year for the Giants contributed.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. I'm not saying that's going to happen with the Cardinals. I'm not going to say they're going to suddenly turn around quickly. But again, if even half of those guys hit, that's a win. And again, you got Marvin Harrison Jr. That to me, that is a slam dunk. Best player in the draft. Look, I just realized I got like my Mel Kiper hair on today with my haircut. This slicked back. I just realized that. I think the Cardinals had a great draft. Honestly, I don't think they're going to quickly turn it around, but they've got.
They don't need to with that draft. They can take their time and do it right now.
Yeah, I think they're going to. I think that look for the Cardinals in the next couple of years to suddenly be on the upswing, as long as Kyler Murray stops playing Call of Duty and actually plays football. You're freaking Eagles.
Yeah, they are.
My only 3 A pluses.
It shouldn't be a surprise that we draft well. Howie Roseman's the best, man.
My only 3 A pluses were the Chiefs, the Cardinals, and your Eagles.
Yep. Because
you guys got 2, if not the 2 best corners, definitely 2 of the best top 3.
Yeah.
The fact you traded back up to get Cooper DeJean in the 2nd round, the fact that he was just still sitting there. He was just sitting there.
Howie Roseman is the best GM in the game. I don't think anybody would disagree with that either.
You guys have put together, again, a terrific secondary in one off season. You really, I think, bolstered the defensive side of the ball. I think you took a center late. I think that, again, we took a center in the 6th round. What could this guy do? I don't know. The same thing the last time you did that. He became a Hall of Famer. So, I just have a feeling you guys had a really, really great draft.
Look, this is what I said. It's an A+ draft that could very quickly be a B draft, depending on how these guys pan out. I mean, that's a generalization a lot of teams can make.
Yeah.
But I think most times you say, okay, we did a B job and it could become an A or it could become a C.
Yeah.
On paper, man, Howie Roseman is the best GM in football. I don't think anybody can deny that. I know we only have the one Super Bowl to back it up. But when you look at, again, just the Chiefs and the Eagles.
It's not Howie's fault that you guys didn't win a Super Bowl.
It's not. It's really not. And I'm going to say, the moves this guy makes are insane. Right. But what a great draft for the Eagles. I do agree with you. It's an A+ draft, and we'll see what happens from here.
Yeah. A couple other notables. I want to mention the Bears. I gave an A-. The only reason why they didn't get higher, the Bears had started off amazing. They only had 5 picks, but obviously they take Caleb with the number 1 overall. Mm-hmm. They then get Roma Dunze out of Washington, who arguably was the best receiver after Marvin Harrison. I know the Giants got Malik Neighbors. We'll get to them in a second. Those are the top 3 receivers. the fact that Adunze was still there at 9 and they got him, the Bears offense, they have 3 legit receivers. They got Cole Kmet still at tight end. If Caleb Williams is half of what he's advertised to be, the Bears could easily, I'm not going to say threaten for the division, but could definitely threaten for a wild card again next year. The only reason why I gave him an A- is because they took a punter in the 4th round, which of all the holes you have on defense, you took a punter?
That's a panic
Really?
move. That sounds like a panic move. Like, that guy.
yeah. Like they're like,
take that guy.
It's like they were still celebrating their 2 first-round picks so much that they forgot they had picks at the back end.
I honestly wouldn't be shocked. It has happened before. I mean, like sometimes that goes your way. Remember the Penguins? Remember when the Steelers got Roethlisberger? Roethlisberger just like happened to end up being a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. I think the Bills panicked a couple times in this draft. They're one of the worst division, by the way, the AFC East. I don't have a single A in that entire division. The Jets, Dolphins, Patriots, and Bills should be ashamed of themselves. They clearly did not shock.
Yeah, that's a shock.
And we'll get into them specifically with my.
Give me the bottom 3, and then I'm curious where the Giants are landing on your list.
The Falcons. The Falcons are the worst.
This
is bottom 3. This is the worst. The Falcons. The Falcons were the only F I gave the entire draft.
Wow.
The Falcons. Not only did you not fill the holes you needed on defense or offense, really. You did take a receiver, I think, very late in the draft, but like the fact that you took Michael Penix at number 8 and have basically said, now again, and look, and I get when the Packers took Jordan Love, because everybody's like, well, this is the Packers, or even Aaron Rodgers, those were the back end of the first round.
Right.
Like those guys, like you need to know the value of where you're picking. And while I do agree that Penix is going to be a good quarterback, in fact, and we'll get into this, my listing of quarterbacks was Caleb, Jaden Daniels, who went to Washington. I gave Washington an A-, by the way. They were second in our division in the draft. Caleb, Jaden. I then had Penix, Bo Nix, Drake May, and J.J. McCarthy. I have May and McCarthy at the bottom. The only reason why McCarthy might be okay is because he went to Minnesota, and Minnesota's system will fit him. But May has bust written all over him. We'll get to that in a second. But getting Penix at 8, even though he was the 3rd best quarterback, when you just signed Kirk Cousins to a 4-year, $180 million deal and have said, yeah, Penix is going to probably sit for 2 years, even though Penix, of all of those guys, might be the most pro-ready quarterback, that is a mind-boggling move. I don't care how you try to spin it. And I've seen a lot of prognosticators try to. That was a mistake.
Why would you not just trade the pick at that point?
Bingo!
Yeah,
Holy cow! Lee, give the man a prize! He did it! He figured it out! Lee backed out of the 8th spot! He gets Cinnamon Toast Crunch, our non-sponsor of the day!
I got the Cinnamon Toast Crunch!
He did it, everybody! Ding, 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 ding!
I just want everybody to know I'm watching our producer, Savi, just laugh at his seat right now. That's ridiculous. I'm going to partake in this Cinnamon Toast Crunch real quick. Just trade the pick, you moron. Trade the pick. I got so many pieces for that pick.
If you didn't want either Adunze, the receiver, who was still there, which I was surprised he was even still there at 8, never mind at 9 when the Bears got him, or Brock Bowers, who went to the Raiders, who also had a puzzling draft, but at least the Raiders got the best guy available at 13 in Bowers when he was there. If you didn't want that tight end, if you didn't want that receiver, if you didn't want Dallas Turner, the best pass rusher in the draft, who ended up going 17 to the Vikings, they traded back up for him, which made the JJ move feel a little, because I think he's going to be a bust too, feel a little better. A guy who replaced Daniil Hunter. You trade that pick. You trade that pick.
This is an extremely valuable pick. Extremely valuable. The top 5 in any draft are insanely valuable.
Yeah.
Top 5 even more than top. But you're
absolutely,
right.
100%.
Okay. Yeah. You could have got so many pieces at that point. And I don't know what they were calling for. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. It sounds like another panic pick. Of that people didn't call, or they weren't taking it, or people wanted them to suffer. It's not a bad pick in terms of the player. The player is a great person to pick.
I think Penix is Penix is going to be a stud. But
the question
for 2 years.
Is this trade bait? Or I mean, they lost all the value already. So it's stupid when and look, it's gonna be super biased. This is where like Howie Roseman is a wizard. He would have turned that into something.
Yep.
Right. So I don't know. I mean, there's so many teams that need a quarterback that would have wanted that pick.
That's what I'm saying. Like
You know?
the Raiders, the Broncos, the
Giants.
Vikings. Like, I mean, I would have loved if the Giants had somehow, like, I thought the hope is that Penix and Knicks were still going to be there at the back end of the first round, and the Giants would trade up to get them then. They didn't even last that long, showing you how much of a rush there was on the position in this draft. Right, the Broncos, which by the way, I gave the Broncos the Broncos got a B+. I like them taking Bo Nix at 12. I think he's going to thrive with Sean Payton.
The Giants could have traded their first round pick and probably one player and gotten that pick.
Yeah.
It would not have been hard to get that fourth pick.
I mean, they
Maybe
already
two
had
players.
Neighbors at 6. I just
You needed a quarterback.
Yeah. No, I understand.
It was right there.
I understand, and I'm going to get into the Giants in a second. But for the Falcons, I just don't get it. So they're my only F. They're my only F of the draft. Because, like, the fact that you didn't take Turner when your biggest need was pass rush on the defensive side, and he was just sitting there. It's mind-boggling. Let me give you my other
about
two.
him now. Maybe that's what they wanted.
I guess, because this is the kind of move that a team that's going to finish 8-9 or 9-8 again.
I'll tell you this. The Eagles, when they drafted Jalen Hurts, similar controversy. Again, not the same draft number.
Yeah.
But similar to controversy with Carson Wentz still being there. It obviously worked out in our favor a little bit.
Sure.
But this is different. I mean, it's an interesting move. This is one of those, like, we have to look back on it in 5 years and see what's happened.
Sure.
But I don't know. When you need certain pieces and you have that draft pick, it is a little mind-boggling.
It's different if you took him 25, 26
yeah,
or something.
100% agree with you.
Then when you take it number 8.
But like the value of the fourth pick, it's so high.
The 8 pick. Yeah, no,
you could have done so many pieces.
They could have done so much with that number 8 overall pick. And it just
stupid.
So my other one,
the Giants. Oh no,
sorry, I still got 2 bad teams.
I'm so exhausted with these already. We did one.
The Bills, I mentioned a little bit earlier, the fact that they traded back twice in the first round looked like they got caught flat-footed. One of them they traded to the Chiefs, who you knew they were going to take a receiver. When by the way, Buffalo, you needed a receiver too. You needed a receiver also.
You schmucks.
Like, they ended up taking a receiver with the top pick in the second round. But the trades, what they got back in return for those teams to move up, including Carolina, to get into the first round, the return was so little, and I just feel like the Bills, again, did not properly fill the holes they had with great talent. It wasn't as bad as the Falcons, but the Bills, especially, the Bills finished strong in the draft with getting some nice pieces towards the end. But their early picks were just mind-boggling, and the trades, they looked like they got caught flat-footed. And Josh Allen is like, who am I throwing the ball to? Who? The Bills get a D. I give the Bills a D. And the other D, we stay in the division. A short drive from Buffalo over to Boston because the Patriots get a D. Not only do they get, to me, the biggest bust risk in the draft with Drake May with the number 3 overall pick. I think Drake May has bust written all over him. I really do. But not only do you spend the first 2 days of the draft telling people, we believe in Drake May, we believe in Drake May, but then on the third day of the draft, you take another quarterback. You wasted 2 of your picks on quarterbacks. The Patriots now have 5 quarterbacks on their roster, Lee. They have 5 quarterbacks, and I don't think any of them can throw the ball.
Sounds like the Jets.
It's ridiculous. The Jets actually took a better 5th-round quarterback. To me, the kid out of Florida State, Jordan Travis. The Jets, the heir apparent to Aaron Rodgers. Can't recall it an heir, really, but, like, he'll probably be starting week 2 the way Rodgers is going. But, like, the Patriots just mind-boggling. And, again, very late in the draft took receivers. Very late in the draft took basket. They need somebody to throw they don't have anybody who can throw the ball. They don't have anybody who can catch the ball. They did not address, in my opinion, they did not properly address that in this draft. Again, another team that should have traded back, that should have backed out of that 3 spot. Patriots get a D. Unbelievable. Lee, your thoughts?
No. I'm just patiently waiting for your Giants.
Giants get a B-.
Okay.
I was wavering between C+ and B-.
Well, they didn't do what we were talking about last week, which I said they weren't going to do anything like that.
No, they did not make a big splash. They went safe. They took Neighbors, who was the second best receiver in my opinion after Marvin Harrison Jr. Right? There is now my thing with the Giants is they did not draft any offensive linemen, which was curious. The Giants have filled those holes via free agency, but if anybody gets hurt, we have no offensive line depth. So I was curious that the fact that the Giants didn't take an offensive lineman. The Giants only had 6 picks because of trades and whatnot. The last pick, I think they reached on a linebacker who probably will contribute in special teams to begin with, but he felt like this was a guy that could have gone in the 7th or you could have signed in undrafted free agency. I felt the Giants, though, the first 3 rounds did have a good draft. I really liked the safety we took in Tyler Nubin. Nick Saban was saying that he's probably the best safety actually in the draft. And I like Drew Phillips, who we got out of Kentucky. But Tyrone Tracy Jr., the running back we took out of Purdue, Theo Johnson, I hope he can be a solid tight end in the NFL level. I'm not sure yet. I hope he proves me wrong. And again, the linebacker we took at a UCLA in the 6th round, I really thought we had a bad third day of the draft. And again, and to your point, Lee, it's basically saying we're giving Jones one more year, one more shot, and probably one more year of Ray rants because we didn't address quarterback. But here's the thing. If the Giants suck again this year, we'll have another top 6 draft.
I get the impression, Ray, that the Giants are looking at the Eagles and the Cowboys and saying, let's let them have a couple years before they go down.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess
that's what I see is that they're timing this to come up at the right time. Them and the Commanders to come up at the right time. The Commanders are about to start to rise again.
Yes, I agree with that. They had a very good draft too.
They did. Yeah. So I just think that the Giants are buying their time. They can't compete with the Eagles, barring injury, or the Dallas Cowboys right now. So I think that they're saying let those teams go up, and we'll come up when we need to.
Yeah. So
that's what it seems like.
It does, and I feel like this is we're still one more year away from really competing.
Yeah, look, I'll say this too: the fans don't like that kind of thinking, but in the macro thinking, it is the right way to do things. Sometimes, now, I know most fans, we need to compete to win every year. Yeah. Look, I'd love for that, but when you really think about the teams that can do that, I mean, look at every sports league you can think of. There are very few teams that can do that consistently every year. And even the ones that do, they fall from grace. All right, I mean, I'm not picking on the Yankees. That's one of them right now, right? The team that was once invincible, it's just not.
Yeah.
Right. So Patriots, once invincible, they're not.
Yeah.
So it takes time to build a champion. If you really want sustained winning, this is part of the process. Yeah, this is part of it. Now you can screw this process up.
Absolutely.
You can screw it up really bad.
Screwed it up the first time by drafting Jones to begin with.
Yeah. All right. So there's a little patience involved, but there's also a little bit of timing. Like, I'll give you a horrible example, but like when the Jets were kind of good, Pats were better. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes you got to think about that a little bit, right? You can look in the NHL too. There's a lot of teams that are just kind of good, but Boston's better.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And it's all about timing. Like the Carolina Hurricanes are just a perfect example of a team that is just about there. Yeah. But Boston and Tampa, and it's like, and these teams come around, and it's like, oh man, you're just not that good. Yeah. So again, the Giants, these are all curious things. Something will click because it's New York. It always does. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, I think I'm going to I'm not going to lie. This is the first time in a long time. I think the Jets had a better draft than the Giants.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, look, here's the deal, dude.
My only question with the Jets is they took 2 running backs, which felt unnecessary.
I mean, I'm going to say something here, and you can feel free to contest me on this. The Giants, even in the years they've won, are rarely a great team. Yeah. They do great things with what they've got.
It all comes together. Yeah.
Yeah. I've never viewed the Giants as a power.
The whole is greater than the sum of its parts kind of thing.
There have been seasons where the Giants were really good. Okay.
And then didn't win. Yeah.
Yeah. But when I look at the Giants organization as a whole in my lifetime, they're not a dominant force in the NFL. No. They're not. Okay. No. They're not the Yankees, right?
We've literally, aside from maybe Super Bowl 21, which was where everything clicked with Lawrence Taylor and all of that. Like, everything was kind of a miracle. I mean, to be fair, the Giants that won Super Bowl 25 were very dominant, but they were still the underdogs of that Bills team.
And that's what I'm trying to say, Ray, is that,
and the Patriots,
that sometimes the Giants fans have a little bit of an aura around their team, and it's like, look, guys, the Giants have never been consistently great.
Little
magic. I'll give you that, but I'm just saying, like, the truth is this: that team has never been a prolific franchise, in terms of regular season play.
Correct.
Okay, in terms of like playoffs,
the Giants have the third most championships ever in the NFL.
Yeah,
right?
and it's not
Packers, the Bears, and then the Giants.
Yeah,
right. But you forget that because it's like the Giants suck for 4 or 5 years and then win a championship.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing. It really is, right?
Yeah.
And again, that's an enigma in itself. But
yeah,
I think that what that does is it gives you a little bit of a microscope on the team. But the truth is, like, the Giants are who they say we were. I mean, they're just always okay, except for some years.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Now, adversely, the Eagles, like the opposite, right? Like one of the best regular season teams. Really for the last 25 years, really.
Yep.
Right. And it's like, and they have won Super Bowl. Yeah. So it's like, it can go either way. Right. I can praise Howie Roseman all day. We've only won one Super Bowl in our history.
It is interesting.
We did win the NFL championship once, so we can't ignore that. A few times.
A couple times, twice. Yeah. You have three total championships, 1 Super Bowl and 2 NFL.
1-3.
Yes.
1-3.
Yeah. A couple other interesting things with the draft. The Raiders had a very good draft. Aside from them too, they didn't take a quarterback. They're going to ride with Gardner Minshew. They got him they got the Minshew dynasty. It could happen in Vegas. They got him some really nice pieces.
I'm going to be honest with you, Ray. There's something there with that guy. I'm telling you, man.
And with Antonio Pierce as the coach.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. There's something there.
I would love to see the Raiders go on a run out of the blue. I really would.
I would too, and I really like Gardner Minshew. I've always liked him, not just because he has the greatest name in the history of football, the Minshew dynasty, but I'm telling you, I don't think he's ever gotten a fair shot. I really don't. And if they're going to give him a fair shot, and I know him, man, he went in there. He's like, I want to run this team. I want it.
Yep.
I remember he played for the Eagles a few games, and I think it was over Jalen Hurts, and he went in and said, I want the starting spot, and they were just like, no, But he can do this. I am a Cinderella fan of Gardner Minshew.
No, it feels like the Raiders. I don't know if it was just because there was the guys they wanted weren't there or what, but feels like a vote of confidence. They're like, we're going to give you a year. This is your chance. This is your shot. Get it. Go take it. If you win, you're the guy. If you don't, then that's it. You had your one. You had your one chance.
I think that's fair.
So. Other interesting things. The Chargers did not take a receiver in the first round. They went offensive lineman, but they did end up taking receivers at the back end of the draft. Be interested to see how those guys work out. Cowboys, I felt like they had a B draft, similar to the Giants. They got Tyron Smith's replacement, I think, in the first round at tackle. Cowboys, look, it's not a bad way to run a football team. They focused on building up the trenches. They didn't get a lot of flashy guys. It's like when offensive line, defensive line. That's not a bad way to go about a draft.
Did you see Jerry Jones say that, look, man, we get the 28th pick. It means we're the 28th best team in the league. I'm like, that's not what that means.
No, you actually traded back to that pick, Jerry. You were actually higher up. The Lions picked, I think, possibly in the kid, Arnold, who that they picked out of Alabama. I think Alabama. Lions might have got the best corner in the draft with that pick. It's between the Lions and the Eagles and the Ravens. You guys all went secondary very early. You guys all got very high quality cornerbacks, and I'm very jealous.
You should be. We'll see what happens.
So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Probably the best division overall, either the NFC West or the AFC North. Which, not surprising when you look at the teams there. That's obviously like the Niners and the Rams and the Seahawks and the Cardinals I mentioned, and the Bengals, Ravens, Browns, and Steelers. They all, I think, had solid drafts. And then I went quickly. The Jacksonville Jaguars had the most interesting thing about the Jacksonville Jaguars draft, Lee, was their owner wearing a neck brace from a pile driver that he pretended to take on AEW Dynamite the night before. Tony Khan, who then did not. He didn't even sell it. And then people asked, people wouldn't even say AEW. Like, he's trying to get promotion for his company, and people are like, yeah, Tony Khan selling that he took a pile driver on a wrestling show last night. People wouldn't even say AEW. So his desperate pathetic attempt that this clown is trying to get eyeballs on his product. It failed. You blew it, Tony, again. And then he made a cringeworthy comment about, I can't think of his name now. Weinstein. Comparing McMahon to Weinstein. What are you doing, dude? During the NFL draft? Captain Cringe over there. Get out of town, you clown.
For those of you listening, Ray did just make the cringe emoji face perfectly on the screen here. For those of you listening. Yeah, it was, first off, just speaking as someone who has been injured before, when you have a neck injury, you can't turn your head from side to side. You got to do the Batman turn. Yeah. So that didn't look good in a Geek Who Like Sports moment. It's interesting, Ray, how the seesaw in AEW and WWE has flipped completely here. 2 years ago, we were saying, well, it'll be interesting to see how WWE responds. I'm interested to see if AEW can respond, because this is bad very quick. The other thing, too, is this. Don't mix football with wrestling. Don't do it. There's only one man on the planet who can successfully do that, and he's done it. His name's Dwayne Johnson, and you're not him. The second thing is, you do not live on planet Earth, sir. You are completely detached from the way things work. You don't mix wrestling with football in that way. It is not the way it's being done. The Rock respects football. The Rock has created the minor league system for football. The Rock has always shown respect to football. The Rock started in football. You have never played football.
No.
You have tried to bring wrestling to football, and everyone knows what you're doing, and it did not work. And
nobody wants a part of it. Yeah.
Nobody wants to see you flail like that. So AEW in deep shit.
Yep.
And in other news, the NFL doing fine.
Yeah. And actually, speaking of it, before I almost forgot one other quick NFL story. The NFL has also announced they're going to allow players, if they want, and honestly, this might become mandatory down the line, but as of right now, it's an optional thing, to wear their practice guardian caps to continue to cut back on concussions and head injuries. And Lee, I am all for this. Yeah. I know they look kind of goofy right now. They're supposedly going to streamline them and make them look better. But for now, they'll be in team colors and whatnot. I think this is a great idea. I think this is going to prolong careers. I think this is going to help players stay on the field. I think that I don't care how it looks. If it allows players to play more safely, I think let them wear the guardian caps. I think it's a great idea. Lee, what is your thought?
The ability for professional athletes and professional sports leagues to have the technology to help protect their players and then not use it has always been an enigma for me. Again, the NFL's been trying these out at practices for years now, 3 or 4 of them, which has been great. It was a test, right? And now they know of the research, and now they're bringing it to the league.
It cuts the concussions by half, they're saying.
Yeah, fully expect to see players wearing these, and I fully expect the macho mans all over the country to say, "You might play football. We didn't even wear helmets. Well, you're an idiot, buddy. Okay, you didn't have the technology that we have today." So
exactly,
the larger implication here is a youth football, which is losing players in droves.
Yes,
and this is the problem the NFL is facing. So I actually think this move is more for that, to make this normalized at the youth levels. I do not know why we would not do that if it's there. So I fully expect to see certain players wearing them, not every player. I think every lineman should have them on. I don't know why you wouldn't.
I think you're going to start to – it's going to start to be phased in slowly, and I think as more and more guys it becomes normalized, you're going to see everybody – it's going to become like me not wearing a helmet in hockey, right? It might be grandfathered in or something at some point.
I mean, I think they'll get the look right for them. I mean, they might be able to get team logos on them.
Right.
But the idea I'm saying is, obviously certain positions benefit from this more. There's I could see a wide receiver not wanting to wear it just because it could mess with their stride or how fast they're running. There's a lot of reasons why you might not want to wear them. But I think you're going to see a lot of O&D lines having these on this season.
Yeah. So no, absolutely. We mentioned wrestling a little bit before. I screwed up my transition because I went out of order on the topics. But Tony Khan is a clown in wrestling. Who's not a clown is a wrestler at TNA. His name's Joe Hendry. And although he's not a clown, he does some of the best comedy stuff in wrestling right now. He is a mid-carder, but he should be, to me, in the title picture because every time he's on camera, he steals the show. And he does these great spoof songs of the other wrestlers, the guys that he's wrestling with, and it is brilliant stuff. Honestly, I wish he'd go to WWE because I think he'd kill it at NXT and then eventually the main roster. But
he might do that.
Maybe we'll see. TNA has kind of been the breeding ground, one of the breeding grounds that WWE's been using the last few years. But Joe Hendry's theme song, he put it out there on social media. He's like, I want this to trend. Monday, April 29th, I want this to trend everywhere. It's going on Spotify. And Lee, you know what happened?
It trended.
Number 1 in the UK, top 40 in the US. That is unbelievable. And it shows that even though there's not a lot of eyeballs on TNA, professional wrestling, everybody loves professional wrestling. Everybody. That is a huge deal to get a wrestler's theme song, original theme song. It's not like a band or whatever. It's his theme song with him singing it. That's like getting Shawn Michaels' Sexy Boy to trend number 1 somewhere. That is unbelievable to me. And it's phenomenal. And I paid my 99 cents and I bought it on iTunes yesterday.
You paid for something on iTunes?
It was 99 cents.
I haven't bought a song on iTunes in years.
Well, I don't do any of the subscription stuff anymore.
What do you?
And I love that. I love Zavi, by the way, with our title here, Pro Wrestling's Cool Again.
Again,
See, it's not just The Rock. It's not just The Rock doing it.
No.
Joe Hendry's making Pro Wrestling.
The key to professional wrestling is the entertainment value. It has always been the key. Unfortunately, being a fantastic wrestler has never been the key. The key is selling yourself. Okay, Hulk Hogan, you can go Andre the Giant, whatever it is. It's the entertainment. So when you get someone who's extremely entertaining and talented, like The Rock, right? Rock's not the best wrestler of all time. Wrestler, all right? He's top 3 best entertainers of all time.
I mean, you could argue AEW has the best wrestlers right now,
right?
But not the best entertainers, and that's the problem.
No, you get the opposite of that. So again, entertainment is going to be the key to this working, and greatness is greatness. And I think it sounds like you got someone who's great there. So we'll see how that trends.
You know what else is great?
X-Men 97.
There we go. Look at that. He's got the action figure. If you're listening, he's got the Wolverine action figure. Yeah,
I do. Everyone's on here.
Yeah, it's a short geek section this week, folks, but it's a good one because X-Men 97 was phenomenal. Episode 7, Bright Eyes. First off, it kicks off with the funeral of Gambit and Nightcrawler. It's just really like a touching speech, just really well done.
Oh, written.
It was very well written, yeah, and it just really amazing. And then Rogue goes rogue, and basically,
that's actually the right word for it. Yeah.
She goes on a rampage. We have a great Thunderbolt Ross cameo where she goes where one of the Hulkbuster areas because she's looking for Gyrich. She's looking for Henry Gyrich because she's looking for Trask. She's looking to find and personally stop all the Sentinels. And he's not there. And then we get another cameo, our second major cameo of the episode. Captain America throws his mighty shield, and Rogue is like, whack, whatever.
Goodbye. You are nothing to me.
Yeah, that's not gonna. The thing is you kind of felt like it was actually really interesting because she's like, Cap wants to help, but he kind of also is like, I can't help you while wearing the red, white, and blue. And it's true because we also find out that Gyrich gets shuttled down to Mexico, and then we find out this was huge. For those in the comics, Operation OZT, Operation Zero Tolerance. This is a huge, huge deal in the comics. And then they cut away. They cut away from that. We find out what they said. Rogue's on the move. They cut away. The other X-Men are in Genosha trying to help out. You start to see Beast. Beast starts to get a little dark. Beast starts to get a little angry. You're starting to see the other X-Men. It's really like they just can't. They're being pushed to their limit.
They're questioning their purpose.
100%.
Yeah.
They are losing the sense of Professor Xavier's mission because they're like, this is what it has brought us.
They're falling apart. This is exactly what's happening.
Yeah. And they end up finding one person under all the rubble. One more heartbeat. And Cyclops immediately thinks, because it's a psychic echo, he thinks Madeline. But anybody who knows the comics knows it ain't Madeline. It ain't Madeline. We finally get Emma Frost's secondary mutation. Amazing. She gets her diamond form, which obviously allows her to survive under all the rubble because she doesn't need to eat or anything else while she's in diamond form. And obviously, diamond harder than rock. She's able to survive. They pull her out. She's the one survivor. And they said it, at least with one survivor, gives us so much hope. But of course, the funny thing is Cyclops thought it was his ex-wife, but we all know in the comics, that's his future wife. It's wife number 3. So, yeah, just like my dad. Anyway,
He was not expecting that. Wow.
Oh, hey, real life bleeding into it, folks.
Oh my God.
Wrestling, it's like a wrestling promo. Oh, cow. But they find Emma Frost. That's a big deal. And then the X-Men get Rogue because she finds Gyrick. She doesn't get, and she just takes the info from him.
Yeah.
And they go after Bolivar Trask. They find Trask. They find him. I think he was in Madripoor, of all places, which makes sense because that's, of course, a hive of scum and villainy mixing in some Star Wars stuff. But it is. It's one of the underbellies of the Marvel Universe. And then we get the big reveal. Because, again, if you know Operation Zero Tolerance, you have a sense it's coming. But we got it this episode. Bolivar Trask is a human sentinel. He is, and the only person who can do that, Bastion. For those who don't know, Bastion is Nimrod, which is a future super sentinel, fused with Master Mold, the creator of the giant sentient factory of the Sentinels, merged into one mutant-hating being, the worst cyborg ever. And he's working with Mr. Sinister, which also makes sense if you think about it. Because he's technically not a mutant. He just places himself with mutant genes. He's not a mutant. But anyway, Bastion and Sinister, two of the worst X-Men villains ever. And we've got 3 episodes left. And it's coming to a head. And it's going to be awesome.
It already is awesome, Ray. It already is awesome. And again, Nimrod has been in X-Men, this cartoon series before, back in the 90s. There was this great moment. Yeah, it was a great moment where we saw a vision of him, right, through Jean Grey.
Yes.
And I said, that's Nimrod. And again, well, a spoiler alert, as Ray said, Bastion becomes Nimrod, right? So
Nimrod becomes Bastion.
You're right. I'm sorry. Nimrod becomes Bastion.
And Master Mold. Bastion is the fusion of those two.
Yeah. Yes. And what's cool about it is like you're seeing the original series now come full circle with this kind of brought back version of it. So it's really cool. It's really cool where they're going. I give them a lot of props for not just making old villains come back again.
Yeah.
Obviously, the big kind of reveal at the end is that Magneto is still alive.
And Bastion's kind of toying with him, almost like a Joker-esque kind of vibe, which I kind of appreciate.
It's like, is Bastion going to make him a human sentinel or mutant sentinel? But what this means, a few things now. What we know, Professor X is coming back to Earth.
100%.
Magneto is still alive. So we're going to see Magneto don the mask again. He's going to go back to his old costume at some point. All right.
I think he's going to go to his gray costume,
that would be good.
Like one of his alternate costumes.
Like, it doesn't need to be the maroon or the red, but Professor X is going to come back, get his X-Men back on track. Where Magneto falls in that will be very interesting. If he's still on Professor X's side after this massacre, I mean, he might turn to his old self a little bit, but work with the X-Men. There's a lot of different ways this could go. Yeah. The key is we don't know which way it's going to go. All we know is that it's been fantastic. I believe Forbes has said, and they put this in the advertisement, it's the best thing Marvel has done in years.
100%.
All right. I will say this is the best storytelling Marvel has ever done in a short form format, ever.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't deny the 10 years of the MCU leading up to Thanos, but I can say that this show has gone places I never expected it to go. All right, and it is very much not for kids.
No,
you know what I mean. It's like I didn't know what to expect when they announced it.
Even less so than when we were kids.
Right. Like, they've already announced season 2 and 3.
Yep.
We'll see if it ties into the larger MCU, but I don't care if it does. I mean, it's just so well done.
Yeah, there's nothing else to say, folks. It's brilliant. It is really. If you haven't watched it, catch up, start binging. New episode dropping tonight.
And again, the name of the episode, Tolerance is Extinction.
Part 1.
And what did we just see? As you said, Operation Zero Tolerance. So it all comes together. It's going to be really well done. And then obviously there's this kind of side story of, I'm blanking on his name, not Photon.
Vulcan?
No. What's his name? The kid from the first episode turned
Sunspot.
Sunspot. Yeah, Sunspot's
Sunspot.
going to play into this too.
Oh, I think he's going to
Yeah.
embrace his powers fully and like
Big
shun
time.
his family. Because there's also been that storyline where his parents knew,
Yeah.
which I thought was actually great. And then they swerve you and they're like, and you
Hide
can't
it.
tell anyone. We love you just the way you are, but you have to hide this because it would hurt our investors.
Right. Well, Sunspot's a very, very, very powerful mutant. So we'll see what happens with that.
He ain't gonna fly. And you know what? I think we're gonna get. Somebody was talking about this. I think we're gonna start getting some more modern designs for some of the X-Men. And I would love to see it. I would love to see Jubilee finally drop her trench coat, get a proper X-Man uniform. I think that we're gonna start to see this because this is gonna be war, folks. This is 3 parts. This is gonna be a war.
Yeah.
People came back,
right?
And
I wouldn't be surprised if you see Magneto and you see Professor X build their own teams again.
So I think you might get X-Force or X-Factor. You might get like.
Did you see Strong Guy in the last episode?
Yeah, Strong Guy made a cameo.
Was there.
Blob made a cameo.
Yeah, there were a bunch of people there. I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. So it's
Blob,
exciting.
Of course, one of the original members of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, which is Magneto's group. Like, and Strong Guy, as you mentioned.
Strong Guy just came out of nowhere. I was like, what's Strong Guy doing there?
Yeah.
And then obviously we also saw Cable meet Cyclops, and Cyclops finally realized that Cable is his son.
Yes.
So a lot of connections there going on.
Now's not the time, Dad.
Yeah. Cable knew the whole time, but you know, it was interesting that now that he was born, they know it's him. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that they were able to tell through his eyes, which is
that's nice.
Also a touching thing that like only a parent would know. But yeah, of course that now. Yeah.
There are things like that as a parent that you know it's your kid. Like the ability for you to know your kid crying or screaming or laughing in a crowd is actually kind of scary. Like you make mistakes sometimes, but sometimes I'm like, that's my kid. I know that's my kid. So weird things like that.
Interesting. Well, you know what else is weird?
What?
The show's already over.
That's it. We're done. Yeah.
We're done.
Sports and X-Men.
Yeah. I mean, that's it, folks. I mean, we went, this was a sports heavy episode, as you'd expect with the playoffs and the draft and whatnot. But and things are in the games front are very quiet because we're about a month away from when we usually now Summer Games Fest used to be E3, but we're a month away from that.
We've got some cool geek stuff. We got X-Men, we got Deadpool coming up. There's a lot of cool geek stuff coming up too. But
it's gonna be a big geek summer.
Yeah.
It's a
geek summer.
Yes.
I just took an old 80s song and made it modern, and I'm gonna own it.
I'm glad you're gonna own it. I appreciate that. You should definitely own it. It's all you, my friend.
Thank you.
All you. So, but also stay tuned, folks. Again, we're going to have the mashup dropping later in the week. This will be a fun one. We mentioned the Guardian caps.
Guardian helmet. Sounds like a superhero helmet.
Yes. The Guardian caps from the NFL, and we're going to talk about the best comic book helmet and head coverings and whatnot. So that's
and what sport would be most likely to use them?
100%. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. I think, and then and if you happen to be in the LA area again on Saturday, May the 4th, it's May the 4th. It is Star Wars Day. It is also
the Lakers aren't playing.
Yeah, Lakers definitely aren't playing.
Kings won't be playing. You got nothing
Kings
to do.
Won't be playing. The Clippers might still be around, but nobody watches them anyway. Come to Free Comic Book Day on Saturday at Golden Apple. I would love to see you there. It's gonna be a great time. Again, get your free hot dog, 1 per person. Get your free comic books, 1 per person, and get your free posters, 1 per person. I think I have to say that legally, and I think I've said it more than enough now. But definitely go check it out.
People in LA, you've got nothing to do. Go see Ray.
Yeah, go see me. It's 11 a.m. Pacific time. That's 11 a.m. here in LA. And it's gonna be a whole great. It's gonna be 6 hours of podcasting. After that, I hand it off to another group, and then they hand it off. And actually, I can tell you real quick who I hand it off to because I don't want
to. You're not doing 6 hours. You're part of.
No, I'm doing a half hour, and then I hand it off to Hollywood Hangover. They hand it off to Cyclops is Waiting for Me. Then they're followed by Geekscape, then Delulu Canoe, Geek Saga, Star Wars. I'm sorry, guys. Your logo. I can't read your logo. Star Wars podcast after that, and then Deeper Issues, the Nerdcast will wrap things up. So if it's 8 podcasts over a 6-hour period, but primarily me. Well, you're not going to be there, Lee.
I might show up now that you said it like that.
Well, I mean, I think you should.
You got to own this. You got to own this, Ray.
That Lee, that $10 hot dog is more than worth the $1,000 plane ticket.
I agree. I agree.
So, no, but it'll be a great day over at Golden Apple at their live podcast theater. And we're going to be, again, it's 8 podcasts over a 6-hour period. And free hot dogs, free posters, free comics, and listen to me ramble for a half hour. Sounds like a pretty good Saturday, folks.
Fourth be with you.
Yes, merchandising. So, but yeah, so for Lee, I'm Ray. This has been Geeks Who Like Sports. Good night, everybody.